Hello, are you out there? This is Mark with HFD Review. We have another one offering from RuinQueenofOblivion here. The Deathtouched Sorcerer. I've been sitting in this one for a while, 2 months now. He's just sorry. So sorry, but we're keeping up with them. Well, here we are. The latest subclass, co-created by me and the Bearded Russian. This one doesn't really have a story behind it. I just thought it'd be a cool idea to make a necromancy-based sorcerer subclass. Yeah, that is cool. A few conversations with him, another friend, and a player in the D&D actual play podcast Forge of Lore, not sponsored, who was interested in the idea. I was motivated to make it, and so I made the Deathtouched Sorcerer. I hope you all enjoy it. Sorry, I was adjusting my volume knob there because the music's pretty loud there. That's our Fever Dream theme song, done by Freebase Propane, the band. Chris is the artist. He's got some good stuff. The Deathtouched Sorcerer. While all sorcerers have heritage that has been touched by magic, few bear it as starkly as the Deathtouched. These rare breed have been either directly or through a parent been affected by powerful necromancy magic. Some may be failed experiments created by necromancers or have been resurrected as children. Oh my gosh. Or even have an ancestor who was themselves a necromancer. Regardless, members of this bloodline possess a unique closeness and influence over death and the beyond, allowing them to delve more deeply into its mysteries. There we go. Death Unveiled. Starting at first level, your magic is suffused with the power of the beyond, granting you inexplicable power to manipulate the forces of unlife. All spells of the Necromancy School of Magic are considered to be on the Sorcerer spell list for you, if they would not be otherwise. Very nice touch. Gosh, when you're expanding that out to all the all the expansion books, if you expand out to all those, that's a lot of necro spells. Okay, Friends of the Other Side. Also, spelling mistake there, I think. Also at first level, your connection to death has left a mark on you. You begin to exhibit a physical quirk, which you can choose or roll to determine from the table below. Additionally, you can cast the spell Find Familiar as a ritual. To gain the services of a Deathtouched Shade, stat block below, instead of the normal creature options. A shade's appearance depends on the specifics of your connection to death, but is often a vaguely humanoid or ghostly creature. So this is going to be your quirk, your physical quirk, 1d8 Deathtouched quirk. So 1. Your arm or leg appears rotted to the bone. Oh, it will act normally otherwise. Oh my gosh. Arm in particular would be really cool because then you could really see it. If it was a leg, you'd be able to disguise that pretty well. Although that could be sort of a hidden secret. If you ever had to take your shoes off or, bathe or were taken prisoner and your other party members didn't know this about you, then it could be quite shocking for them to see that exposed. But it was on your arm. I could see you having it wrapped in bandages all the time or wearing gloves. Yeah, it's pretty grim. 2, other creatures see shadows and shapes moving behind your eyes. I like that. Yeah. 3, your blood becomes a black ichor when exposed to air. It's much more common than you'd think. Yeah. 4, when you exhale, it produces a fine puff of dust and ash. Ooh, I like that. Maybe a little odor too. A little halitosis. Sorry. I've had a lot of coffee this morning. Sorry. 5, your skin appears supernaturally pale and sallow. That one's just slightly off-putting, I'll be honest with you. It's not that. Okay. 6, the temperature around you always feels uncomfortably cold regardless of the weather. Other people feel the cold. Uncomfortably clammy. Ooh, yeah, I like that. 7, clothing and equipment you wear or use quickly begins to smell of mold and dirt. Oh, wow. And 8, your voice often has a faint echo, as though a disembodied presence is quietly parroting your words. Those are some great Deathtouched quirks. I like those. Can I roll more than once on the table? I want all of them. What do I have to do for that? Deathtouched Shade. Here we go. A medium undead, unaligned. So this is the familiar, though. So a medium-sized familiar is... Okay. I guess in my mind, I'm thinking always familiars are like tiny or small. But I guess if you got a small shade, people would think it was like the spirit of a child, which would be like severely disturbing, I think, all the time. So probably best that that's not the case. Armor class 12, hit points 10, speed 40, which is fast and keep up with the group. That's good. Strength's coming in at a -1. Dex is a +3, so quite dexterous. Con is a +1. Int a -2. Wiz 0. And a Charisma -2. So intellectually, not a lot there, but it is quite dexterous and quick. Saving throw on Dex is sit at a +5, so Dex is its save. It is quite stealthy and has a touch of perception. It's vulnerable to radiant damage, which makes sense. Tracks as an undead creature. It is resistant to cold and lightning and is immune to necrotic, which actually also makes a lot of sense. On top of that, the fact that it's undead gives it the blanket conditioned immunities of charm, fright, and poison. That's standard. Senses, dark vision. I'm actually surprised you didn't put knock prone on there, though. If it is like a ghost or spirit, I could see making it immune to prone, but your call on that. Dark vision out to 120 feet. Proficiency bonus equal to yours. That would be for any other ability checks it might have to make. Shrouded form. The Deathtouched Shade has advantage on stealth and perception checks as long as it is in dim light or darkness. Oh my. Okay. Dim light or darkness. So full light is going to affect its ability to perceive, to see, and obviously, well, it still has a +5 on stealth. So even in normal light, it actually is pretty good at stealth. Chained Protector. While the Deathtouched Shade is within 30 feet of the sorcerer who summoned it, the sorcerer gains resistance to necrotic damage. That's a nice touch. Actions. Dirge. The Shade selects one target within 30 feet to roll a Constitution save. Throw against your spell save DC or be frightened until the end of your next turn. So this is an action your familiar can take to invoke fear. It's based off a con, which is, I don't think, normal. Isn't it usually wisdom for that? I don't remember. Okay. I like that, though. Dirge, by the way, is a song of death for any of you kids out there who don't know. Yeah. So, Hand of the Grave. Melee attack is a +5 to hit, 5-foot range, one target, and will deal a 1d6 +3 plus PB necrotic damage. What the oh gosh dang it, you throw these acronyms at me. PB, P, something bonus. Oh my gosh. Proficiency bonus. Oh, yeah, proficiency bonus. So it will scale up its attack ability with your sorcerer's character. Very good. So, oh god, when I see PB, I always think Player's Handbook. I swear to goodness, I'm always like PBH, and I'm always like Monster Manual. So I'm just like, oh, it's not Player's Handbook though. What in the Player's Handbook would affect? Proficiency bonus. Thank you. Let's continue. Tether of the Grave. Starting at 6th level. Now, just to make sure, though, real quickly, those actions were for the Deathtouched Shade. Deathtouched Shade, the actions of Shade. Okay, so now we're back to Tether of the Grave. This is back to the Sorcerer. Sorry, that wasn't really clear. I almost wonder if maybe we could indent all the shade, the Deathtouched Shade stuff over one tab, just so it punches out a little bit better, because, I mean, I had to think about it there, but here we go. Tether the Grave for the Sorcerer. Starting at 6th level, you can extend your closeness to the beyond to undead around you. Undead created or summoned by a sorcerer's spell you cast, add your charisma bonus to their armor class and saving throws. Ooh. That is very nice. It's a nice touch because it doesn't mean they're going to be more deadly. It just means it's harder to get rid of them, right? So that's a nice touch. Additionally, when you cast a sorcerer spell of the Necromancy School, you can choose to treat the spell as though it originated from an undead creature under your control. Oh my gosh. So it's almost like having a staff, like, and you can reach out and use it as a touch attack, but with this, it's just like, no, wherever the undead around you are, you can project a spell from them. That's pretty nice. Especially if it's AoE stuff, you know, Thunderwave? No, Thunderwave's not a necromancer. I'm trying to think of some good necromancy stuff. Cloud Kill, right? Yeah. You can get it away from yourself and all your allies and just go Cloud Kill everyone else. If you use this effect on a damage dealing spell, you gain a bonus to 1 damage roll of the spell equal to your charisma bonus. I did not understand that. Hold on. If you use this effect on a damage dealing spell, a la Cloud Kill, you, the sorcerer, gain a bonus to 1 damage roll of the spell equal to your charisma bonus. Okay. So that would be like if you're... if there's only 1 damage roll for the spell, you get to add your charisma bonus to that damage. Or if it's a single spell that's going to do damage against multiple creatures, you get to choose one of them to deal your damage. Your charisma is an extra damage bonus too. Understood. Or if it's prolonged over time, clicking off again and again and again because it lasts. It's damage over time. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that's hard to understand. I think I just am a little loopy today, so it took me a moment to understand that. Well of Souls. At 14th level, the power of death in your blood manifests yet more prominently. Anytime you cast a sorcerer spell which allows you to create or summon 1 or more undead creatures, you can invoke this ability to summon 1 more creature than the spell would normally allow. Oof. Which otherwise follows any rules laid out in the spell. Once you use this ability, you cannot do so again until you complete a short or long rest. Yeah, I mean, you're a necromancer, so this is just straight up allowing you to summon more undead, to raise more undead. So it tracks, yeah. Gosh, it's just necromancer-ish, yeah. Oh, is there... That's so fascinating. There is not a necromancer class in D&D. Is there? In any of the little... No official thing, right? Okay. That's cool. See, now you got me super curious. Now I want to like look at all the necromancy spells available and go on D&D Beyond or something and track it that way. Okay, but yeah, it makes a lot of sense just to be able to summon more undead. That's what you're doing here. Once you use this ability, you cannot do so again until you complete a short or long rest. I'll tell you what I really, really, really like is this ability to project your spell out of one of the undead under your control. It's just such a clever thing. Because a lot of undead you control, you could leave... Well, I mean, I guess to be fair, it's not like you see through their eyes, and you presumably would have to be within the range of the creature. Yeah, let's think about this just real quick here. Say you're using an undead spell, some death bolt, whatever, with a range of 120 feet. You would normally shoot it out. You have a skeleton that you want to project the death bolt from, not you. Don't you think that possibly it's important to say what that range is that you can project to? So as long as that skeleton is within the range of the spell relative to you, they can then project the spell from them up to that range? No. Or is the range of the spell always relative to you? Always based off of your sorcerer? It's just that, so you could target a creature within 120 feet of you with the death bolt spell, but it could come from a skeleton so long as the skeleton is within the 120-foot radius of you. A little clarification there, because, I mean, you get what I'm saying. Could the skeleton be 230 feet away from you, but the target you're trying to hit is 120 feet away from you, but you project that spell out 230 feet to the skeleton, who then shoots the death bolt back at the target 110 feet away. 120 plus 110, 230. You see how it can be a little loopy? I would say that your maybe I'm overthinking it, but I think the undead under your control that you're projecting the spell from, there has to be some limit to how far away it can project from them. It matters too, though, because say you want to project a touch spell. It doesn't do any good if the skeleton you're controlling is 20 feet away and is going to cast a touch spell, but if you say that your sorcerer is the measuring stick, then your sorcerer has to be touching the target. And the skeleton over there would have to run over here and then touch the target. That doesn't really make sense either. I think what you're trying to evoke is the idea that the skeleton's 20 feet away from you, reaches out a hand at the target, grabs it, and does the touch a spell attack, or the necromantic touch spell effect. How about you just make it simple? I think this is worth thinking about. I would just put something simple in here and just say up to a creature that you control up to a range of 120 feet. Just put some nice, or 60 feet, whatever you think is appropriate. Yeah. Otherwise, you could have a creature that was a half a mile away, but you're in a tower looking down on a field of battle. This creature's 2,000 feet away from you, but you cast a spell through it. It reaches out and touches the paladin on the battle line next to it and kills it right there, or gives it a disease or something. I think you need to just put some sort of boilerplate blanket range on how far you can project a spell through an undead you control. My opinion. Okay, let's just jump back down here though. Pseudo-phylactery. Nice. Beginning, I'm sure there's a joke there somewhere, but I'm not nearly clever enough to figure it out. Beginning at 18th level, this is your capstone. Your power begins to approach that of a lich, allowing you to stave off your own death. You have immunity to necrotic damage. Nice touch, very appropriate at 18th level. Certainly, that's not too much to ask. Necrotic's not that common. Additionally, anytime you would be brought to 0 hit points, but not killed outright, you can choose to trigger this ability and instantly kill, dismiss, or relinquish from your control one undead creature currently summoned or controlled by you. If you do this, you drop to 1 point instead. Anytime you'd be brought to 0. There is not a limit on that. So if you have several undead under your control at the moment, you could just drop again and again and again. It doesn't say that it's an action. Anytime you're brought to this, you can choose to trigger the ability, so it doesn't take an action even, specifically. I wonder, though, if there should be a cap. It's a pseudo-phylactery. I get it. I'm just sitting there going, should it be tied to your proficiency bonus? Your PB is what we really knowledgeable D&D players call it, the PB. I always say the PB, personally. Anytime you don't put a limit on something, it is unlimited, and I think players find ways to abuse it. I think if you just tied it to your proficiency bonus, your PB, that would be a +5. More than enough in any case that I can think of. I mean, geez, if you're dropping down to 0 hit points 5 times in a battle, per long rest, right? Yeah. I mean, it's limited by how many undead you control. I don't know the necromantic school of magic well enough to know how many undead this could potentially get you. So I don't want to say that it's overpowered. Anytime there's not a limit on something, players oftentimes will find a way to abuse it. So, but yeah, pseudo-phylactery means you are really hard to kill. You have survivability. You'll just pop back up again and again. So that's kind of cool. How about anytime you'd be brought to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can choose to trigger this ability using an action or reaction? Maybe? I don't know. Something? Okay, well, yeah, there's a lot I don't know. I don't play sorcerers. Unfortunately, I'm not a warlock, sorcerer, wizard guy, honestly, so I don't really know how they work that well. I think it's great. I think the flavor is very nice there. I wish I understood more about necromantic spells in particular, but I think this is a really good approximation of of a necromancer. Is it overpowered? I would say not. I mean, Rune Queen rarely overpowers any of their subclasses. I think the theme is strong. I definitely like it. One thing that's so great about this is a couple of the items you dropped in here are really original and evocative of what it would be like to raise and control the undead. I'll leave it at that. I think that this is one of the trickier ones to understand. You definitely had a couple of things in there that had me questioning it. So I don't want to say that the ease of understanding is where it should be. I think it could be tightened up or clarified in a couple of spots that I talked about. That would probably be the biggest detriment. I don't know that it's an A+ subclass. It's probably an A subclass in terms of the power level like I do. So I don't think it's underpowered per se, but it's definitely not at the top by design. So I think you got your theme. Yes. Your fun. Yes. Your balance, I think if anything is slightly underpowered. Your ease of understanding maybe could be needs a little clarification. So I'd say that's kind of that's all of her points there. I'm just looking at Sean's list of stuff. Anyway, thank you for sharing as always. 21. These are always 20 minutes long. The channel is growing. Okay, so this is for the diehards. Anyone who's still watching here, this is for the channel faithful. We broke 40 subscribers, which is really cool. It is just organically kind of growing along, and Hot Army's last the Golden Dragon got like 100 views or something, which has done the best I think of any video we've released, any homebrew that we've reviewed on the channel. I think it has the most likes, I think maybe the most watch time. So for our baby channel, that's pretty cool. So congrats to Hot Army on that. People really like that. And yeah, every couple of days we get another subscriber, so it's kind of growing, organically. I'm not having to go wrangle people to join up. It's always surprising to me. It's very edifying to be like, oh shoot, another subscriber. Sometimes when we're reviewing stuff like this, oftentimes it's common for the person we're reviewing to join in subscribership. So it never surprises me when like a channel grows, a couple people, every week as I'm talking about their stories. But with this channel, it's just really growing on its own, which is super cool. So I just wanted to let you guys know, give you a quick update that it's bit by bit gaining in subtle popularity. I do it anyway, with you guys. I have a heck of a lot of fun with it. That was an odd one for me though. I am a little wound up right now. It's kind of like late mornings, so yeah, what are you gonna do? We have maybe 4 in the queue, so we've got at least a month's worth of material here. And I actually did reach out to one person, I found on Reddit where they did some kind of cool like homebrew adjustments to secondary things on weapons. I'm going to make up a video for that, probably post it sometime this week. So there'll be a couple extra videos this week. But sometimes you see something like that and you're like, hey, yoo-hoo, can I review your homebrew? And they're like, yeah, whatever. So, but maybe we'll suck somebody new into the community. But if you watched, thank you. Take care.